Welcome to the Home and Family Culture Podcast. I'm your host, Jody Chafee. In this episode, I have guest Lisa Gornall, and Lisa is a spiritual medium, healer, and coach. And Lisa was born with abilities to become one with your energy. She intuitively empowers successful entrepreneurs to reclaim their time, relationships, inner game, and energy so that you can live a fulfilling and happy life. Work is your passion, and you know you are here to enjoy a life outside of work, but you don't know how to do that and keep scaling your income. Since 2002, Lisa has combined her intuitive abilities with healing and coaching. We get to the root of your success wound. I look forward to talking about that by releasing those fears, family patterns, beliefs, energies, and other life experiences that have kept you stuck in a path that isn't working. I am so excited to talk about this with you, Lisa. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today.
I'm especially excited about this because, this really has so much to do with family culture because, when I talk about family culture, it's really like, okay, what is going on from our culture that we grew up with that we really need to end? You talked about these family patterns in that description, that it's like, okay, what are the family patterns that are toxic, that aren't serving our families anymore, or things that when we come together with our family and our spouse or our partner has different patterns, that we have to figure these things out, right? So those are the things I like to talk about with family culture. And so I'm excited to learn more about this and your experience and how it relates to our families. So what does it mean? I want to know about, what is this success wound, first of all? What is
So the
that?
success wound is a term that I've coined because I've been doing this work since 2002. So as entrepreneurs, we are driven to do more.
Yeah.
More, create more, be more, work more, earn more. It doesn't even matter. We just want more, right? And the problem is that we get to this point in our lives where we're reaching all these goals, all these things that we wanted to have, and it's still not enough. We still keep getting pushed to do more, create more, be more. We never stop and be like, okay, this is where I wanted to get to. This is the success I wanted to have for myself and my family.
Yeah.
But we keep pushing ourselves. And it's just this constant drive for more. And it helps us start our business from the beginning. It's great. But then it reaches a point where it's no longer serving us, our family, our clients, or the world. So that's the success mode.
Wow. So it's not, and that's not even just entrepreneurs, right? That's like,
it can be anything. Yes.
Anybody that is driven and feeling like this force to be more, or higher expectations, and this pressure that a lot of people do experience.
Oh yeah, it's in corporate America. It's everywhere. Wow. It's even on the PTO, right? Like people want to do more, be more. Like their goal is to do one thing, and then they never acknowledge that they even completed that goal. They're automatically onto that next goal, and they're just continually being driven. So we need to stop and pause and say, what is driving me?
Wow.
What am I trying to prove? That's where the healing begins, right? And what I found is people are trying to prove that they're loved, that they're worthy, and that they're enough. And I can always categorize somebody into one of those three categories. And for the most part, the biggest one people are always proving is that they're worthy. I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to do more than I need to do. I'm going to do all of this. I'm going to show you how worthy I am. But we never feel worthy.
Wow. And that's really a very scarcity mindset, right? Like that's something that you have this like fear of missing out, fear of not being enough or not qualifying, and that's really a sad and destructive, but we all are in it at some point or another.
We're all in it. And not only are we in it, but we're teaching our kids to do the same thing. Because as we're proving that we're worthy, we're enough, and we're loved, we're so focused on being more successful. Who are we neglecting? It's usually the relationships. The relationships get the toll of that.
Wow. Yeah, totally. I totally see that. And then we ignore, because we ignore them. We're so focused on that.
We're so focused on that next goal. We're so focused on whatever it is that we're working on, right? You're thinking about it in the shower. You're thinking about it when you're making dinner. You're thinking about it all the time. And we're not present for those people in this family, this life, whatever it is that you're trying to create. You're not present. And let me tell you, our kids know when you're not present. They know.
They can definitely sense it. So what can we do then? You talked about these family patterns and beliefs and fears. These things are, those behaviors are definitely rooted in those fears and, the scarcity. So what are some things we can do to break those patterns?
So we have to get objective about them. We need to recognize, what did I get from my parents? Sometimes it doesn't even come from your grandparents. Sometimes it's from your grandparents, your great grandparents. It's passed down that familial line. And even if you're adopted, you pick up those family patterns. So it's just a matter of paying attention to, am I being my parents right now? Is this even true for me? Who is this true for?
Yeah.
My aunt has a story where her mom used to always cut off the end of the roast beef and throw it away. And so my aunt's like, this is so wasteful. Why are we throwing this away? And she's like, I don't know. It's just what grandma always did. So my aunt goes to her grandma and she's like, why do we keep cutting off the end of the roast? And she's like, because it didn't fit in my pan. So here we have this tradition that gets passed down because it made sense at time. I mean, of course, she probably could have saved that, but it was probably just such a small amount that she just threw it away, right? But it's like that for everything. Your beliefs about money, your beliefs about how to show up in the world, your beliefs about what kind of a house you need to have, what kind of cars you need to have. Do you take vacations? Where do you need to live? How far away from your family can you live? I mean, everything goes back to our childhood. And we don't even question it. We just continue to operate from that space, not even realizing that it's driving everything.
This is why I started my podcast in the first place. It was, back in 2016, and my husband had been struggling professionally for so long, and we both went to school. We were, we were always told, well, you're supposed to go to college and get good grades so that you can go and get a good job in corporate America and whatever. But we finished our degrees in a time when it was like there were no jobs. It was during the recession. There were no jobs available. And then we were going, well, I don't understand what happened. We did everything right. We checked off all the right boxes. We went through the right programs. We never made dumb choices or had addictions or were careless or anything like that. We were always so focused on doing the right things. But we were miserable because we're going, wait, there's no jobs available and our finances are suffering and professionally we don't know the direction that we're going in. And so that became, I didn't know that that's what our problem was. I just thought we're just miserable. What's happening? But what I've learned is that it's the constructs and the beliefs that we grew up with, that we were supposed to just check off the right boxes and please our teachers and leaders and parents without questioning, what do I really want to do with my life? And so that's what I've really discovered through my exploration, is like everybody needs to figure that out for themselves. What is the thing that is going to be, what is the thing for them? How do you listen to your own intuition and the guide that's supposed to be taking you through your life saying, this is your purpose, So
well, there's a reason why everybody gets into their 40s and they have a midlife crisis.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason why, because you did all those right things. You followed what everybody told you to do. You never thought about, what is it that I actually want to do?
Yeah.
People don't think about that, and sometimes even now I have 2 teenagers. People are like, what schools and where are they going to, like, they put all this stuff onto them. And so we have to take our stuff off of other people. We can't be doing it to other people. We need to take off the stuff other people have put onto us. That's how we start to break this cycle.
Wow. That's really powerful. And it's something that so many people don't really think about because they're just, well, I know my path because people have laid it out for me. Go to school, do this, do that, get a job or whatever. And so that's like, well, that feels comfortable because that sounds like that's what everybody's done, or everybody has modeled this behavior. And so you're just comfortable following and modeling the behavior that's already laid out for you. And so that's really fascinating. So that's the first step. You said you need to question these things, look at what's happening.
Get objective. Think about what's guiding you and what resonates with you. So I always like to tell people, and we can do some energy work later, but like when you think about bringing in, I am worthy, can you do that? Or does it get stuck somewhere in your body, right? Like, does it get stuck in your chest? Do you feel like it's stuck in your stomach? I am enough. Where does that get stuck in your body? I am love. Where does that get stuck in your body? That tells you energetically where you're holding that. Because that's the other piece.
Can you explain that? Like, how can you sense or tell something like stuck in you?
So we are energy. So every interaction we have, you and I are exchanging energy. All the listeners are exchanging energy. We're all energy. So when we go out and about in the day, okay, if you leave your home. If you stay in the home, this becomes all internal stuff. But if you're out and about and you're picking up on the energy of the driver next to you, or somebody cuts you off, or you go into the store and somebody's not nice to you, or somebody gives you a dirty look, or somebody doesn't smile, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. We take that on without even realizing that we do that. So when you go to do a meditation, I hear this all the time, when you go to do a meditation and you try to like calm your body, and even if you're focusing on something so that way your mind is nice and focused, your body's like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, or I can't sit here, I have a pain in my stomach, or whatever. That's the places that you stored your energy to deal with later. But when was later? Usually later comes up because somebody triggers you and you explode. And it can be something so tiny. But the piece that we're all missing is that, everybody talks about doing visualizations and gratitude journals and all of these things, meditate. But nobody talks about, we need to let go. We need to clear our energy. We have to clear it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So how do you do that?
So I should have had a visual prepared for you, but I like to talk about, like, if this was a glass of milk, I drink water, but if this was a glass of milk, right, it would be white. That means that we've done all of our letting go and we're clear. But let's say we haven't done any letting go. We're totally angry at all these people. We're holding on to stuff from our childhood, past lives, all this stuff, right? You would have black or like chocolate milk goop all around the outside. And it doesn't matter how much positivity I pour into this cup. I can't get rid of that goop. It's just glued onto here. So I need to literally dump it out, clean it, and then I can refill it with positive energy. So that's what letting go is. So I teach people to bring in white light. White light is God, love, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. It's non-denominational. Your energy. You are made of this white light. But as you get stressed, worried, frustrated, you store that in places of your body. Typically, it's in the throat, the chest, the stomach, and the hips. Those are like the 4 big areas we like to store stuff to deal with later. And interestingly enough, we store stuff in the same places that our parents stored energy. So usually if there's a history of breast cancer or ovarian cancer and things like that, there's family patterns there. That's where we're storing all of our stuff, right? Because eventually, if you keep putting all that dark energy, negativity in your body, it's going to create dis-ease, right? So then you want to clear it out. So you bring that white light in from the top of your head, down to your feet, and into the earth. If it gets stuck, that means you have letting go to do in that space. And then from there, you can pull it out. So wherever you felt like it didn't come through, or if you said your I am love and it got stuck somewhere, that's how you know to let go. You might feel tension in your body. You might feel like there's something already physically bothering you in that part of your body, but you want to imagine pulling it out like smoke or like weeds and let it go. And then you want to refill with a positive color, a pastel color. It's like soft pink, soft blue, soft green. And then I am peace. I am calm. I am free, whatever I am statement is. I mean, we can walk through it if you want, but that's
so
like
it's literally
overview.
just like a mental, like visualizing what the feelings and then visualizing that color coming in, like just kind of in your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
But it's more powerful than your imagination because your imagination's never done that before.
Right. Interesting.
So I'm teaching you in a very simple way, a very complex energy work practice. Mm-hmm. That really shifts and changes the energy.
Interesting. I would just, when you were talking, this is what I picture was my kids and I like to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. And there's this scene where he has to clear his chakras, right? He's like so is that what that's called? Is that your chakras? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I've simplified it because a lot of people don't know what chakras are. Right. And it doesn't necessarily matter. Like, people say that there's 7 chakras. I actually see more than 7 chakras. So it's really important that we're just aligning and balancing our energy. Nobody taught us to do that.
Yeah, no.
It's not taught anywhere. And then we're walking around all angry and upset and holding on to stuff. And we don't know what that chip is or what's bothering us or whatever it may be. Right. Yeah. And so then we continue to bury ourselves into work because we're going to prove ourselves. We're going to get there.
Wow.
But we never get there because this energy is what's driving us.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that I think is really interesting because, one of the things that I talk about is having positive coping strategies so that, because, a lot of times what our family culture ends up looking like is the things that we default to. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when we experience stress, we default to a certain behavior in order to cope with that stress, or to just either you're dealing with it or you're escaping it, right? Or you're recovering from it, or you're just
hiding from it.
hiding. Yeah, exactly. Or pushing through it, like you talked about too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the healthier response to these stressful things is to have either a constructive coping strategy or a recovery strategy, or like you said, just clearing these
Mm-hmm.
things. And so because I really see that our culture just ends up being our defaults. And so in the norms, the things that we are known for. And so if we are constantly known for, oh, the energy gets stuck in a certain spot and I react out of that space, then that's what we become known for.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this conversation because I think that people, and myself included, need to learn, like, these are things that we can do in order to clear out the baggage so that we can be more intentional about how we respond to stressors and situations where, okay, how am I being in this situation? How am I going to change or shape this situation so that this is what I'm creating rather than just what am I just reacting to?
Reacting. And here's the thing, when you start to do the energy work, when you do it, your kids can see it. We forget as we get older, we kind of move away from that energy and we really get shaped by society. But the kids are still very aware. They see things. So if your kid's telling you, I see an energy or I just know something, I was that kid. I saw spirits. I saw energy. I saw what people were holding on to. I can see their problems like I was watching on TV. I didn't have anybody to talk to about that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But if my mom or somebody was doing energy work, I could see it. And then I would have been like, okay, this is what I need to do. Right.
Wow.
So even if you just do something simple, like bringing in the white light, and we see it in nature, right? You can kind of see it in this book right here. You see like a little beam of the light, but like we'll see it breaking through the clouds. We'll see it breaking through the trees. That's God, universe, source, nature saying, you're a being of light, right? If you're in a dark tunnel, you can always find the beam of light. So even if you just bring that white light in every day, when you wake up, from the top of your head, down to your feet and into the earth, no matter what you dreamed about, what you were thinking about, you're going to start your day in balance. And you're going to be in such a better place for your family. And then you're teaching
Mm-hmm.
your children a different way to be. So instead of getting up and doing that morning hustle to get them off to school or get them ready for school or whatever it may be, you're going to be like, oh, I'm in a good place.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not getting out of bed today. Okay. I'm not going to yell at you right away because I'm in a better place, right?
Right. Right. That's a really good perspective, because I do think, yeah, uh, we tend to be results driven, going, if they're not getting out of bed, then that's going to ruin our whole day. And it's like, no, 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 the whole day hasn't happened yet. Let's just sit with this situation and
Yes.
embrace it and figure out what to do right now and be process oriented, be in this moment, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I think is super important when we're talking about like how we're interacting. And I love this idea of you start out the day being present and healing. So okay, Lisa, let's do this. Like,
Let's do it. Let's do
okay,
one.
because
Okay.
I am not a morning person, and I try not to like place that on my children, but I also know that they know this about me. And so it's like I'm trying to figure out, because I just had this experience. I went to a conference and they were like talking about the one thing that's in your life that's holding you back. And these people gave a presentation, they talked about alcoholism. And so they felt like that was the thing that was holding them back. And so when they stopped that thing, they were able to move forward and have good experiences and change their life, right? So while they're talking about this, I was thinking maybe why my one big thing is getting up in the morning. And then I was like, okay, all right, yeah, if I could just get up in the morning earlier and start the day off better and do this and that. Although as the presentation went on and as the other presentations were going through, discussing mindset and the stories and the beliefs that we have for ourselves, I was like, oh man, it's not about morning. It's actually that my belief about myself and my ability to get up in the morning or my ability to accomplish these things. It was the stories I tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now talking to you, it's like, well, maybe it's really just me figuring out where my blocks are, where my energy is like stagnant because of, yes, the stories that I I believe about myself, but also maybe even just physically and spiritually, like where am I holding myself back? So
And it's actually all of those things. So,
I bet.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have 40 pages about letting go in my first book. Like it's a complex thing. So you're going to have your body's rhythm, and your body's going to say, this is the time I like to go to bed. You probably go to bed late at night, right? And you have a hard time getting up early in the morning. I have a daughter who's just like that. I can get up, you guys, at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm ready to go. But if you want me doing stuff at 2 a.m., I am not your girl. I am done. I am in bed by 11. Like there is no more Lisa. She's gone for the night, right? So we have that part of us, right? And so I have one daughter who's up every day at 5:30, and I have one daughter on the weekends who I'm waking up at 12 o'clock p.m. Right? So you have that element to you. So knowing that you like to sleep in, what are some things that you can do to help make your mornings easier, right? So you're going to work with your body's physiology. So the first thing I would recommend is that when you wake up in the morning, you bring that white light in.
Okay.
So before you open your eyes and have a conversation with your children, before you're on your device, before your feet are hitting the floor, like what I do is I give myself 10 minutes before I get up in the morning, because my kids can drive themselves to school now. I'm at that stage of my life. So I give myself 10 minutes before they're walking out the door. I want to see them in the morning. I want to see what they're wearing. I want to see, how they're doing physically. I'm not just letting them leave the house without me seeing them before they leave. I give myself 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, I'm bringing that white light in. I'm releasing any tension. So if I feel anything like in my hips, like I like to store it in my hips, I'm clearing out my hips. I am peace. I am calm. I am balance. I'm like setting that stage for my day. So when I walk out of my bedroom, I'm in a good space. Wow. And my kids are like, hi, mom. Hi, mom. Well, the one's not really as much hi, mom. She's kind of like, oh. Yeah. Because she's not a morning person.
I relate to her.
Right? No. Yeah. But like, it's just getting into that good space in the morning. So that way I'm set, because things are going to come up and things are going to happen. And I need to be in a good space to respond to them. If I wake out of bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I overslept my alarm clock. I got all this stuff to do this morning. I got to get the kids up. I got to get things going. I'm not in a good place. So one little thing is going to trigger me.
I've already started out in a scarcity mindset and self-deprecation, going, oh, I'm such a dummy. Like I missed this. And I went through that stage where I'm like, I hate myself because I can't get up earlier, and so that's. And
I think it's just really just accepting that that's your physiology. Right? I'm a mindset coach, so don't get me wrong. I'm all about, let me put these things into your head and help you. Yeah. But there's three pieces to it. It's your body, your mind, and your spirit. So we have to acknowledge that your body, through genetics, it likes to sleep in, and that's okay. But how can I work with that? Yeah. Right? Like hopefully you get time on the weekends that you can sleep in, or you're creating that space for yourself somewhere else, because that's what your body wants to do. Right? My daughter is up at 6 o'clock, 6:30. Whenever my oldest goes in and she's like, you're oversleeping, get up, right? So that way they can leave at 7. But on the weekends, we let her just kind of do her own thing, unless we're RVing or something like that and the whole family wakes her up. But for the most part, like we try to give her that time. So when else can you give yourself that time to sleep in? Or your husband can give you that time to sleep in, right? So that would be my step 1 for you. Then step 2 is to bring in that white light and like just get into a good place. And then the third thing is that in every moment we begin anew energetically. Our thoughts create our reality, right? Your thoughts create your words create your actions. So if you're thinking, and this totally works, if you're thinking, I'm going to get there at the perfect time, you will. Wow. Because you don't know. So even though you're supposed to be there at, 9 o'clock, and let's say you get there at 9:05, right? And this is going to drive all those people who are like, if you're on time, you're late. Okay, crazy. Yeah. But we're not in that society anymore. Like that's our grandparents' generation, right? Where they would like be like super early to stuff. We're not in that society anymore. Like the people that get there 15, 20 minutes early are so frustrated with the rest of society for not being early. But if you're thinking, I'm going to get there at the perfect time, and those thoughts creep in, you're not going to get there, you're going to be late, and look at the traffic. If you keep saying, I will get there at the perfect time, you will get there at the perfect time. I used to do this when I was in college, because I live in San Diego, and sometimes traffic is crazy. And I would look at the traffic and be like, oh, I'm not going to get there. Yeah. And I'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let that thought go. Yeah. I'm going to get there at the perfect time. And every time I would start to like look at the clock or whatever, I would say, I'm going to get there at the perfect time. And you know what? I did. Maybe the professor was just walking in. They haven't taken attendance yet, like whatever. So there's all these elements that come into play to help you when you're not a morning person. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And people like to say, I can't do anything in the morning until I have a hot coffee.
Right.
I can't function. Well, that's a belief,
Yeah.
right? You don't need that to function. I actually drink a warm lemon water in the morning, right? Just warm water with lemon, because that's the best thing for your digestion, for your energy, detoxes your body. And in America, we want to just gulp it down, right? Everything is a rush.
Yeah.
Why? Like, enjoy that. Let the steam from your cup, like, touch your face. Like we create our morning. So we can create one that's crazy and insane, right? Or we can create one that's intentional. And we're not Deepak Chopra. We're not going to meditate for 2 hours in the morning. It's just not going to happen. It's just not realistic. But we can sit there, even if it's for 2 minutes, and bring the white light in before we even get out of bed in the morning.
So how is doing this, bringing the white light in, how is that like? Is it like a prayer? Is it kind of like prayer? Is it a meditation?
So you can consider it either one. I consider it energy work. People consider it meditation. Some people do consider it prayer. Okay. So it's totally whatever your belief system is. But basically, you're allowing that energy that you already are, right? Because we're born into the white light. We cross over into the white light. We are the white light. So you're just aligning your energy in the morning. Because who knows where you went in your dreams? Who knows? Right. Who knows what crazy dreams, especially if there was a new moon or a full moon or the zodiac signs were doing something crazy. You're going to wake up and be like, what happened?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I slept for 8 hours, but what happened, right? So do you want to practice bringing in the white light? I think that would be good for everybody.
Yeah, I would love to. Okay. Let's see this. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But if you're not driving, you can just imagine closing your eyes, getting really comfortable. And you're going to imagine a beam of white light coming in, just like we talked about, like you would see in nature, coming in from the top of your head, down to your neck, down to your chest, down to your hips, down to your knees, down to your feet, and into the earth. And then I like to add I am statements. I am peace. I am calm. I am free. And then notice where you're feeling unsettled in your body, where the energy is kind of hanging out. Like, do you feel it, sense it in your own body, Jody? Like where it's not quite zen?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know it's brand new and I just threw you on the spot. So like for you, I would work on clearing your throat area and your hip area. So then you would just imagine just pulling out like smoke or like weeds, like any tension, any worries, any fears, any stress, right? In the neck, it can be not speaking your truth, not feeling worthy, not feeling enough, right? So just you would pull all that out and let it just disappear up into the sky. And then for right now, just imagine a soft blue coming from behind that space and let it just fill every cell all the way forward. And you would really want to relax into it. And then you would do the same thing with the hip area. And for the hip area, you can just imagine a soft orange. And just pull out the same thing. It's always fears, beliefs, worries, concerns, something somebody said to you, whatever that may be, and pull it all out of your body. I am free. I am free. And then just bring the white light in again from the top of your head, all the way down to your feet and into the earth. And then open your eyes when you're ready.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So you just feel it. You just try to feel it. I mean,
you're just paying attention.
Yeah.
We're not taught to listen to our body, right? Yeah. We're taught you have to go to the bathroom, hold it. You're hungry, wait. You want to drink something? Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our body is working in conjunction with our intuition and it's saying, hey, you need to eat. Hey, don't walk across the street right now. Hey, do this. And we're like conditioned to be like, oh no, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm in control of my body. And then you sit down and you try to relax and your body's like,
yeah.
Let me tell you everything that's wrong right now. Right. So it's just reconditioning our body that I'm going to listen to you, because if your body's giving you signs, you're supposed to listen to them. Your body's navigating you.
Right. So often we just ignore it and take a pain medication or something and try to get it to go away. Interesting.
And it doesn't.
Well, so this is really just a practice of just becoming present, becoming mindful of your body and taking that time and giving yourself that space to just listen, let the light, like you said, letting that light just flow through you. It's like, okay, pay attention to each step
Mm-hmm.
along the way as it progresses through your body. And that's more than what a lot of people even do. We just, like you said, we get up,
Right.
we rush through the day, and then
Mm-hmm.
by the end of the day we're going, oh my gosh, why am I so crabby and achy,
Mm-hmm.
tired and
Mm-hmm.
exhausted? Well, let me just go quiet those things down by self-medicating with something
Mm-hmm. Or
healthy.
having a glass of wine.
Yeah, exactly.
Wine's a very popular medicator in our culture. So, and if you can't see the light, this is brand new. Nobody's taught you to do this before. It's totally normal. Just close your eyes, stand underneath a light, and
Mm,
bring the light in through your eyes, down your feet, into the earth, and then do it through your head. Go stand outside in the sun. Like, there's ways to like work around it. But once
yeah,
you start doing it, it's a game changer. Like if
yeah.
you read my reviews online, like from a long time ago, I'd be like, the white light, the white light, the white light. It's a game changer. It's actually Reiki, if you've ever heard of Reiki. So I'm teaching you Reiki,
Oh, okay.
Reiki, Chi, whatever you want to call it. But I'm teaching you to just balance and align your own energy system because you are
Wow.
energy.
Wow. And I can totally imagine how this is so powerful for our relationships, so that if you are okay with yourself in a good place and you're coming from light, then you're going to interact with people on that, from that place, from that
Mm-hmm.
perspective of being in light. And so that's so important because we want to
It's
keep
really
strengthening
important.
those relationships, and we want to establish, like talking about intentional family culture. There are people who have intentional family culture, but they don't don't come from a place of peace, or they don't come from a place of trust. They just go my way or the highway. That's still an intentional culture. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But what is a healthier approach to having that intentionality is establishing trust, establishing health, having those defaults and practices that bring that light and truth into your family, so that you can function on a higher level and be and bring that trust component into your family. If they're going, I can't trust mom because I know she's going to explode any minute because she
Mm-hmm.
hasn't cleared her chakras.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what I mean? Like if
Well,
mom's
they
uptight
know.
and
If
having,
mom's in a
yeah,
bad mood,
yep.
when we were little, if my mom was wearing her glasses, we knew she was going to be in a bad mood, right?
Like if she
Because
didn't
she
put her
was
contacts, she
tired, so
wasn't
she had to
ready.
put her
Yeah.
glasses in. She was just like, I can't even function with my glasses. Then we're like, oh, mom's going to be in a bad mood. Don't ask for anything, right? And
Right.
that shapes so many things in your family. We read that body language all day long. And another thing you can do too is like when you put your kids to bed at night, put the white light in them.
Mm-hmm.
You're allowed to do that. You're connected to them energetically, right? Just put the white light in from the top of their head down to their feet into the earth. If your child has nightmares, if your child thinks there's something in the room, there is.
Mm,
Clear it. You know what I mean?
clear it.
But like,
Wow.
just allow all that stuff in. So if you just start just doing the white light, or I am peace, I am calm, I am free. Even if you just start doing those things, it's going to totally shift your energy. It's going to shift your relationships. It's going to shift the whole family unit into one more of balance.
Another thing that I love about this too is, like, just as you were talking about your mom and how you knew when she was going to be uptight, like sometimes, like, okay, there's this voice inside of me, or I hear other people's voices saying, there is no way I can show up every day. I get tired. I have needs. I have boundaries. I'm exhausted, But at the same time, the way you're talking about this, if you have this as a practice, then it's not necessarily like about quote unquote showing up. It's about just being present. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to put on a facade to quote unquote be the present or show up, or like be something for our children that is really just a mask of saying, I'm going to be your perfect mom or something like that. No,
There's
this
no
is
such
just
thing as a perfect mom.
what? Say it again.
There's no such thing as a perfect mom.
Exactly. There's
I'm not
not.
even a perfect mom. You know what I mean?
No,
And
yeah.
the kids have nothing to do but read your energy.
Yeah.
I mean, they really have nothing. I mean, they are just watching everything. The younger they are, the more in tune they are with your energy. So there is no facade or whatever
Yeah.
that you're putting up for them. They're like, oh, mom's not in a good space. Mom's mad about something. Mom's happy. Mom's, whatever. They know.
And you're going to burn out if you keep trying to present like this front of having a perfect life or trying to be a perfect mom or whatever. You're just going to burn out. And
Mm-hmm.
so I hear a lot of my audience say like, oh, I'm struggling to balance life or time management or this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, well, maybe it's really just an energy balance. Like, stop trying to think that you have to do everything, be everything, and
You
start
can't
out
do
in this
everything, and you
scarcity
can't
mindset.
be, that's a myth. It is impossible for you
Yeah.
to do everything and be everything to everyone. Myth. Let's just
Yeah.
call that out right now. It's impossible.
Yep.
And when it comes to the time, how much self-care are you scheduling for yourself each week? The younger your kids are, the more important it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you've got to do that. Like, you are in charge of that schedule. So if you've got your kids going to all these different activities and you're working and you're doing all this stuff, you need to look at your calendar and you need to say, I'm blocking off Saturday, or I'm blocking off Sunday. Like, every Sunday is family day and we are not putting anything on the calendar. Like, we cannot be scheduled to, like, who thought this was a good idea? It created a whole society around it. Like, all these kids have to be in all these activities and you got to get them, like, in all the birthday, like, what?
Yeah.
It's okay to say no. Say
Yep.
no to the things that do not bring you joy. You cannot be everything to everyone. Myth.
Yeah.
It's a
Thank you.
myth.
That's awesome. Like, that's exactly what I got out of, like, there's a lot I got out of our conversation, but I think that there's something to this, just this whole message of saying, you know, we are just overscheduled, and we
Mm-hmm.
are over, over a scarcity mindset of thinking that I have
Mm-hmm.
to do things. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because I think some people going, oh, I have to add one more thing to my life to do this energy. It's like, no.
It takes a
It's
minute.
actually the opposite. It ends up being that you're going to clear other stuff out, or this other stress that you just don't need in your life. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, make the time so that you can have the balance throughout the rest of your time, and you'll suddenly go, well, maybe this other thing, I don't need it. I don't need
Mm-hmm.
that part of my life. I don't need that in my life. And then you're going to end up going, my life is actually more free because I took this time to be present and to recognize what is really crucial in my life. So
Bringing the white light in is a form of self-care.
cool.
And that's what moms are missing in America.
Mm-hmm.
They're missing it.
I'll say moms and dads. I think I do have some dad listeners too. So.
I feel like my husband, like when my kids were little, I feel like he was getting in way more self-care than I was. Like, and that was because of the way that my mom raised me. You know, the mom did everything, which is why I know that that's a myth. You know,
Yeah.
and I would give him time to, like, go ride his motorcycle or go do whatever he needed to do. But then I felt so guilty about doing it for myself, like I needed to be there. But I have got to put that oxygen mask on myself before I can, like, give that oxygen to all my family. And so I think that, you know, my husband's very involved and he's a very good dad, but I was giving him permission. And I think that happens in more families than not, that we give the dads more permission to take care of themselves than the moms. And then this is good for the dads to think about too, like, how much self-care is your wife getting? Like, make sure she's getting it. Make sure you guys are blocking that off. If it's a nap, and it doesn't have to cost money. Maybe she needs to take a walk by herself. Maybe she needs 5 minutes in the morning to meditate or bring in the white light, or, you know, whatever it may be. We don't have to spend money for self-care. We don't have to have a spa day, right? But we need to make that time. Both parents need to be making it. Whoever's like doing everything in the family needs to have more self-care time scheduled.
Yeah. And it's not like, I mean, you said you give your husband permission more often than that, but so it's not like necessarily, I know that sometimes that like triggers people to be like, I don't need my husband's permission. You know, it's like, it's not like that. But he does need to support you. He does need to, you know, whatever burden you have to deal with, you have to go and say, please take this on. I'm going to take some self-care time or something, you know, it needs to still be a team effort to say, this is what my needs are. I'm going to go take this time.
And my husband wasn't telling me I couldn't have that time, or not telling me.
Right.
I did it. It was me. I felt like I had to give myself permission.
Yes.
Because he's like, honey, I don't care what you do. Go do whatever you want to do.
Do
Right.
what you need.
I was the one that was like, oh my gosh, I need to be here. I can only work when they're like taking a nap and when they go to bed. Like, and my whole, you know, I've been in business since 2002, and it was all structured around nap times and school times and all of that. And now I'm like, no, my hours are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And actually 9 to 3 on Friday. You know what I mean? But it's just like, no, I can do that, you know? So I just think that it's part of the culture that the primary caregiver needs to give themselves permission to schedule in that self-care and to stop overbooking, because you're running yourself ragged. And your kids don't want to see you like that.
Yeah, and to stop believing that things are gonna fall apart if you're not there. I think sometimes we get that sense of like, I have to take ownership of every little aspect or have my fingers in all the little
Hmm.
details, and it's like stop believing that too, because I think that especially with our kids who need time to think for themselves, mom doesn't have to be always in the mix of all the everything. And
Right.
so to
How can
just
we
let go of
empower
that.
them? How can we
Yeah.
empower them to be independent thinkers? I had my kids start packing their lunch when they were in first grade.
Nice.
Why? Because they know what they're going to eat. Why am I packing them all this food that they're going to throw away, trade, or like just make disappear somewhere on the on the playground? Right? What am I doing? And so now my kids are in sophomore and junior year of high school, and they still have kids that are getting their lunches packed for them. What are
Hmm.
you going to do in the real world when you don't know how to make your own lunch or your
Yeah.
own breakfast? Like, I don't wake up in the morning and make my kids breakfast. I'm just making sure that they're dressed appropriately, they're
Yeah.
healthy, they're in a good space, and they're going to school, right? I'm not here to do all that. Like, we've got to raise independent thinkers and kids that can do these things. And if we're micromanaging every aspect, what are they going to do when they go off to college?
Yeah. They're gonna live at home and come back. No,
Forever,
no.
forever. No, they're never leaving, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. And I have whole discussions with people about this topic, the bulldozer parenting and
Hmm.
helicopter parenting. It's something that's
Helicopter
a
parenting,
real
yeah.
problem in our culture and society, that like stop micromanaging our kids. They have to grow up. They have to grow up.
And it
So
helps
there's
you
that.
by not
Yeah.
micromanaging. It totally helps you. It's a life changer.
Yeah. Well, it's like you were saying from the very beginning. We feel like we have to be always doing stuff and always busy. And it's like when we become parents, we think, well, if I'm not busy with my child, then what am I doing? Well, it's like, no, your child wants to see you modeling what a healthy adult looks like, what a
Hmm.
happy adult looks like, what it looks like to be productive and doing something that makes you happy, and setting clear, healthy boundaries and things like that. Not always being that voice in the back of their head telling them what to do.
Hmm.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. I loved having this conversation and so many amazing things. And I look forward to learning more about you and your books and everything. So where can my audience find you and read your books and connect with you?
So my website is my name, Lisa Gornall, GORNALL.com. You can buy my books there. You can buy them on Amazon. You can see what I'm up to on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel with hundreds of videos, and everything is through my name. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you came on the show, and thank you so much for being here.
thank you. I enjoyed it.